Why don't we start first with some action from the association? Let me drop a government on you. If I'm dropping a government on somebody, either they did something really, really good or something really, really bad. The government being Christopher Emmanuel Paul, a.k.a. the point god. But why don't we be real for a minute? Let's get right to the real on a Monday.
For real.
The point god is the choke god. Just a fact. I mean, it may feel harsh. It may sound harsh. It may feel cruel. It may feel like it's not giving Luka enough credit. And I'll get to him in a minute. But the simple fact of the matter is, Chris Paul is the king of blown leads. Nobody blows a lead like Chris Paul. He's Jean Van de Velde, Greg Norman, and 108 years of the Cubs, all rolled into one. He went into the last night as the only player in NBA history to be up 2-0 in a series and lose it 4 times. That was going into last night. That was the most in NBA history. He has now extended his lead on blown leads. He's going secretariat on all the other chokers in the game. In every game. It's just a fact. That's no hot take. It's not even an opinion. It's a fact. And just so we're clear, check the math on what's involved in blowing a 2-0 lead in a best-of-7 series. What that means is you get up 2-0, and you either lose 4 of the next 5, or you lose 4 straight. Can I repeat that very quickly? If you're up 2-0, you either lose 4 of the next 5, or you lose 4 in a row, and this dude has done it 5 times. And you're telling me that this is one of the great leaders in all sports. Just when you thought it could not get any worse than blowing a 2-0 lead in the finals, it got worse. Blowing a 2-0 lead and nearly getting a 50-piece in your face in a Game 7 at home.
Right in my face.
I mean, that cannot happen. Not if Chris Paul is as good as everybody says he is. I mean, that's a fact. And here's another fact. Chris Paul cannot win you an NBA title. Chris Paul will not win you an NBA title. He might win a ring at some point. He might gravy train his way to the podium, but his days of leading your team to an NBA title are over. And turns out those days never even existed in the first place. If he can't close out a finals up 2-0 when he's 36, and he can't close out a series up 2-0 when he's 37, he's not leading you to a title at 38 or 39. And I know last night was not all on him, but if you're the point god, if you're one of the alleged best ever at your position, you can't fall on your face the way he did last night. And again, it's not all on him per se. Like Devin Booker sucked last night. DeAndre Ayton was a non-factor last night. Pretty much everybody in the Suns' gear was a total disaster last night. But Chris Paul is supposed to be the guy who steadies the ship. He's the vet. He's the Hall of Famer. He's the point god. He's on this team to win games like that. All the vitriol, all the bile, all the fat that everybody has had for James Harden, and it was deserved. But Chris Paul deserves even more because he melted. He no-showed. That was a legacy game for Chris Paul, and he fell flat on his face, which is officially his legacy. 1 point in the first half. 1 point. A single point in the first half. 0 made shots from the field in the first half of a Game 7 at home. And the Mavs were going right at him. They were attacking him. They were going at him when he had the ball. They knew he was a weak spot, and they punished him. They made him pay for it. And Chris Paul and Phoenix did jack. They were down 18 in the first half, then 21, then 27, then 30. And at no point did Chris Paul, allegedly one of the greatest leaders of all time, do anything to stop the bleeding, do anything to turn it around. Nothing. I mean, it was so quiet in that building, you could practically hear Luka laughing every time he made a three. So last night was not just a bad look for Paul. It was a bad look for the Suns in general because they were feeling pretty damn good about themselves, weren't they, after Game 5? They're all up in here throwing alley-oops, running up the score. Devin Booker was mocking the Luka special. And then they ran into the Luka special. And he destroyed them in front of their friends, in front of their families, in front of their coworkers. Absolutely punked them over and over again and laughed about it and then talked bleep about it. Booker's Luka special joke boomeranged about as hard as that Wade LeBron fake cough back in the day before Dirk carved them up.
Me?
Luka had 27 at the half. So did the Suns. I'm not stunned that he showed up the way he did last night because that's who that guy is. He's a superstar. He's a killer. And if you're going to take that guy out, you're going to have to kill him. He's going to go down swinging. You're going to have to kill this guy to take him out. The shock here is either the Suns really are chokers of that magnitude or they just didn't give a damn about that game. Or both. Because they didn't get blown out in the second half. They got blown out in the first quarter. They never even showed up. I could spend all 3 hours dumping on Paul and the Suns, and it still wouldn't be enough. That's how bad that game was last night. That's how bad that entire performance was. And as much crap as the Sixers took, this implosion was so much worse because Phoenix did not have the injury issues that Philadelphia did. They weren't supposed to have the chemistry issues either. They were the best team in the regular season, and they didn't just have the best record in the NBA. They had the best record by 8 games. They lapped the field. They worked that hard for that many months to get a home court only to embarrass themselves and their fans at home with the entire nation watching. Suns in 4 became Suns down 40 pretty damn quickly. I mean, at that point, I'm thinking to myself, they're going to lose by 50 in a Game 7 at home. I mean, did they give any crap at all? Did they show any heart at all? Any hustle, any fight, any grit, anything that mattered? Like, while Luka and Spencer Dinwiddie were the perfect combination of surgical and clinical, the Suns were the horrible combination of terrible and not giving a damn. I mean, it really was a gutless, heartless display. I'm not sure I've seen a worse performance on a big stage ever. Guys all up in here, browning their drawers, puking the bed. I mean, they did all of that. And while that was... What's your soundbite for browning the drawers, Alvin? You got one of those? Thank you. And while that was a total team implosion... Yeah, okay, I got it, Alvin. Thank you. It's on the point God, because this dude, the dude who is legendary for being able to control a game, could not control anything last night. He had his first bucket when the team was down 40. His first bucket when they were down 40 in a Game 7 at home. 40! It's got to be the most humiliating stat I think I've ever heard in my life. Hall of Fame player in a must-win game, and he gets his first bucket in garbage time. Man, and you know who was cackling. You know who was having a good old time with that. One Patrick Beverley. Let me direct you to his tweet. And I quote, "Y'all stay locked in. Let's see who pulls the fake hurt move down a dub." End of tweet. And sure enough, that was Pat Bev early in last night's game. And sure enough, check this tweet from Mark Spears. Quote, "Suns point guard Chris Paul limped out of the arena with a very slow walk. Anscape learned that Paul had a left quad injury. When asked about the quad injury, Paul declined comment. End of quote. Well, what do you know? What a quinky-dink. Gets blown out by nearly 50 and suddenly has an injury. I'm not saying it's not legit. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not saying he's faking an injury to explain why he just stunk it up on the biggest stage. I'm just saying it's a hell of a quinky dink. And Pat Beverly called it early in the game.
Take their ass home.
That was a collective failure by the Suns, top to bottom. But it was a career-defining choke job by Chris Paul. The ultimate choke job from the choke king, and nothing's going to erase that because now it's happened 5 times. You know what? Even if it happened a 5th time and they lost on a buzzer beater, that'd be something, right? But coming out and nearly losing by 50 at home in a Game 7 situation, and he didn't get his first bucket till they were down by 40? Find me something else to compare to that. I've been thinking about it all morning long, and I can't think of another choke as bad as that. Not given his legacy, given his history, and not given how good of a regular season they had. Not only were they the best in the league, it wasn't even close. They lapped everybody.